They stopped him cold at the gate, questioned the legitimacy of his ticket, and summoned backup, all without realizing the man they were scrutinizing had control over a $35 million supply deal with their airline. Marcus Eldridge looked every bit the part of a seasoned executive. His navy suit was pressed to perfection, his silk tie immaculately aligned. He moved through Concourse B of O'Hare International like someone who had made a career out of catching early flights and finalizing late-night contracts. In his left hand was a graphite leather briefcase. In his right, a boarding pass clearly marked, Business Class, Seattle. He was en route to the Pacific Green Harvest Conference, where he would deliver the keynote address. At T60, Marcus was no stranger to this routine. He had spent decades perfecting the art of understated professionalism. The limelight never appealed to him, precision did. But that morning, as he approached Gate 12, the air shifted. There was no queue yet. A few travelers lingered with coffee cups and half-scrolled screens. Marcus stepped forward, nodded politely at the gate agent, and handed over his ticket. The agent didn't scan it. He looked at Marcus, did a double take, then stared just long enough to make his hesitation clear. Marcus stood unfazed, posture steady, eyes calm. "This is for priority boarding," the agent said, clipped and skeptical. "I know," Marcus replied, cool and composed. The agent's fingers hovered over the scanner, then stalled. He shot a look to a colleague nearby, mumbled something inaudible, and the other agent glanced up, curious. Marcus said nothing. The first agent turned back, voice firm. "I'll need to see some ID." Marcus raised a brow. "That's not standard after scanning a boarding pass." "Is there an issue?" The agent wavered. "Just a standard check." It wasn't. Gate agents don't typically request ID at boarding. Marcus knew it, and so did the man behind the counter. Still, Marcus retrieved his wallet, slid out his license, and handed it over. The agent barely examined it before setting it down and muttering, "One moment." His name was printed plainly on the pass, Marcus Eldridge. Yet instead of boarding, he found himself watched. A quiet conversation happened off to the side. Then came the security guard, wordless, towering, watchful. Marcus had seen this before. Not frequently, but enough. The quiet switch from respect to suspicion, based not on his actions but his appearance. Some couldn't reconcile his presence with the seat he'd purchased. The guard didn't say a word. He just stood, studying Marcus like a checklist. Marcus calmly stepped aside from the boarding lane, saying nothing. He didn't argue. He didn't raise his voice. That was never his method. He pulled out his phone and dialed. It rang twice before a familiar voice picked up. "Lila? Check the Skypulse supply contract we signed, coastal distribution routes. I'm at O'Hare, Gate 12. I'll wait." He didn't hang up. He didn't pace. He just stood there, eyes ahead, his tone unreadable. The agent glanced over, uncomfortable with his presence. He leaned into his headset. "We're just handling a quick issue," he told the gathering line behind Marcus. "Thanks for your patience." But patience was fraying. A woman near the front leaned toward another passenger. "What's the holdup with that guy?" she whispered. Marcus heard it. He didn't flinch. Lila's voice returned. "Got it. Should I contact Skypulse directly or?" "No," Marcus replied evenly. "Just flag it. They'll recognize the situation soon enough." He ended the call. The pass never left his hand. He stood there like someone waiting for weather to pass, not retribution to arrive. Marcus Eldridge didn't come from boardrooms or first-class lounges. He was raised in Canton, Illinois, in a home where the stairs creaked and the morning started before dawn. His mother, Clara, stacked produce at the corner grocer. His father, Amos, worked at the factory by day and fixed machinery by night. Money was tight, but pride was plentiful. At 14, Marcus joined his mother on early morning shifts, unpacking crates before the shop lights came on. He learned how to spot the perfect apple, reject a soft tomato, and, most importantly, how to read people, not just talk at them. That difference stayed with him. By 25, with an agribusiness degree and a mountain of debt, Marcus launched his first operation, a farm stand outside Peoria. Just him, a rented van, and enough persistence to sell squash like it was gold. The breakthrough came later, when he recognized an unmet need: sustainable, scalable crops that met supermarket demand without sacrificing integrity. Not boutique. Not gimmicky. Just quality, delivered efficiently. Eldridge Agri Solutions began in a shed with spotty Wi-Fi and a single delivery truck. Over time, he stitched together a network of farms and contracts, climbing the ladder field by field. Today, his company supplies dozens of premium grocery chains, universities, and, most recently, Skypulse Airlines. They had come to him, desperate for a food partner after their meal service was publicly ridiculed. Marcus didn't oversell, he listened. Then he pitched a farm-to-flight model with minimal waste and seasonal menus. They signed the $35 million deal without hesitation, but Marcus never bought into the noise. His Springfield office didn't have awards on the wall, just photos of that old stand and letters from growers. Lila ran logistics. Marcus handled people. He didn't seek headlines, but he wasn't afraid of impact. So when the gate agent studied him like a threat instead of a client, it wasn't just an inconvenience, it was a mirror. No matter how far he'd risen, some still saw only what they expected to see. And when you don't match their picture, they look harder for a reason to say no. But Marcus didn't need to yell. His presence was enough. That call wasn't retaliation, it was a quiet correction, but no one at Gate 12 recognized him. To the young gate agent, Tyler, 28, new to Chicago, Marcus was just an anomaly. Tyler had transferred from Boise, still learning the ropes. His marching orders were simple: follow protocol, avoid errors. But he hadn't yet learned nuance, the soft skill of knowing when procedure turns into profiling. A line had now formed. People were murmuring. Tyler, headset askew, stared at Marcus like he still wasn't sure what he was seeing. His colleague, Nora, leaned over. "What's the problem?" Tyler muttered, "He says he's business class." Nora glanced at the screen. "His ticket says he is." "So, what's the issue?" Tyler frowned. "I don't know. It just feels off." Nora's eyes narrowed slightly. A silent warning. But Tyler, flustered, kept scrolling through the terminal screen as if a hidden truth might emerge. The guard nearby remained silent, offering no guidance, no authority, just presence. More passengers trickled through. The business lane was clearing out. Tyler hesitated, unwilling to make a call. Then Marcus's phone buzzed again. He stepped away. "Lila? I've looped in their regional director and copied Carla Voss, Skypulse catering lead." "Good," Marcus replied. "Keep me posted." He ended the call and resumed his quiet watch. Nora looked uneasy now. She leaned in again. "Do you even know who that is?" she asked in a low tone. "Marcus Eldridge. From the Skypulse produce deal." Tyler's face blanched. "Seriously?" "Dead serious. He's their main supplier." Tyler turned to look at Marcus, still standing quietly. He hadn't moved. He hadn't raised his voice. "Should we just board him now?" Nora asked. Tyler froze. "No. If we do it now, it'll look like we..." His headset crackled. "Tyler, status at Gate 12? We've got a delay flag." He stiffened. "Minor issue. Under control. Make sure. Board members are flying today. Don't cause a scene." Tyler swallowed hard. Across from him, Marcus took a slow step toward the window. He watched a luggage cart rumble past. He didn't glare. He didn't pace. He let the moment stretch. Meanwhile, 9 floors up in a tower overlooking the airport, Vanessa Holt, Skypulse's operations lead for the region, was halfway through a bagel and an expense report when her assistant patched through an urgent call. Vanessa Holt. This is Lila Thornton, calling for Marcus Eldridge. There's an issue at gate 12. Vanessa straightened in her chair. What kind of issue? He's being blocked from boarding. Business class ticket. No explanation. Vanessa didn't need one. She knew the name. She knew the contract. Eldridge Agri-Solutions had single-handedly salvaged their food program. If this got out, it wouldn't just be bad optics, it'd be catastrophic. I'm heading down, she said, grabbing her blazer and waving to her assistant. Get crisis response on standby. In Denver, Skypulse's headquarters lit up too. Carla Voss was mid-meeting when her phone lit up. Marcus is being detained at the gate, Lila said flatly. Carla's pen dropped. You're kidding. No. He called me directly. Carla rose from her chair. I'll reach Vanessa. She's probably on it already. Might be wise to loop in legal, just to be safe. She ended the call and immediately began dialing. If this leaked, it could derail months of preparation for their new menu launch. The ad campaign was underway, social media posts scheduled, and Marcus Eldridge was the centerpiece of their Fresh Skies program, a figurehead for sustainable in-flight dining. And now, that figurehead was being sidelined at a gate by someone unaware of who he was. At gate 12, Tyler was sweating through his shirt. The tension had shifted, no longer just from Nora's silence but from murmurs rippling through the waiting passengers. People refreshed flight apps. Still no updates. Then, a woman in a gray blazer with a Skypulse badge approached briskly, trailed by a man in a maroon tie, phone still to his ear. Vanessa. She wrapped up her call and took in the scene. Marcus didn't move. He recognized her instantly but remained seated. Vanessa extended her hand, calm and direct. Mr. Eldridge, I'm Vanessa Holt, Regional Operations Director. May we speak privately? He gave a single nod and slipped his phone into his jacket. Of course. They stepped just a few feet away. Behind them, Tyler froze, unsure whether to follow or disappear. Vanessa took a breath. Mr. Eldridge, I want to apologize on behalf of Skypulse. An internal review is already underway. This situation never should have occurred. I'd like to personally escort you to the aircraft. Marcus stayed composed. Do you happen to know my seat number? She checked her tablet. Yes, 2B. A faint smile touched his lips. Front row. Strange. I was told this lane was for priority only. Vanessa met his eyes. I'm truly sorry. He leaned in slightly. It's not the mistake that concerns me, Ms. Holt. It's the bias beneath it. She gave a tight nod. I understand. Marcus wasn't looking for a spectacle, he wanted accountability. Tyler lingered behind the counter, headset dangling uselessly. He watched Marcus and Vanessa, unable to hear them but feeling the weight of every word. The gate remained in limbo. Though the board still read, on time, nothing progressed. Nora kept her eyes down. She didn't need to speak, the tension had taken on a life of its own. Vanessa gestured discreetly to another man who approached, tall, neat, corporate. This was Gavin Reed, Skypulse Regional Legal Counsel. He had been briefed on the walkover and knew better than to deflect. He extended his hand. Mr. Eldridge, allow me to express our apologies. What happened today? Marcus interrupted softly. I'm not here for apologies, Mr. Reed. I want to understand how this happens after we've signed a $35 million agreement. Gavin hesitated. There was no tidy reply. Vanessa stepped in. Mr. Eldridge, we're treating this seriously. Staff conduct and training protocols are being re-evaluated. What happened doesn't reflect our standards. Marcus raised an eyebrow. The company's standards, or the gate agent's judgment? She didn't respond. He gestured toward Tyler, who looked like he might collapse. He saw a suited man with a valid ticket and assumed I didn't belong. Not once, repeatedly. Called security as soon as I questioned him. I know exactly what that's about. This isn't new to me. Gavin cleared his throat. We're ready to issue a formal apology, public or private, however you prefer. Marcus didn't flinch. You think I'm after an apology? He opened his briefcase and pulled out a slim folder. No theatrics, just paperwork. This is our contract. My company supplies all the fresh ingredients on your coastal and plains routes, first class, business class, even your VIP lounges. So when I say the person you blocked is your brand, I mean it. He handed the folder to Vanessa. She accepted it like it weighed more than it looked. No press releases. No statements. What I want is progress. The next time someone's profiled at your gate, they might not have your direct line on speed dial. The terminal was quiet. A few passengers whispered. One man fiddled with his phone, possibly filming. Gavin shifted his weight. We'll conduct a full audit. Adjust staff if needed. You have my word. Marcus checked his watch. Good. Let's move forward. Before Vanessa could lead him to the jetway, Marcus glanced back at Tyler. The young man looked pale, gripping his badge as if it could anchor him. Marcus held his gaze, not with anger, but with something heavier, disappointment. He didn't speak. He didn't have to. Vanessa gave the signal, and the gate crew opened the path. Marcus stepped onto the jet bridge. Gavin followed. At the counter, Nora finally broke her silence, leaning toward Tyler. You don't get it, she murmured. His company stocks half the meals you hand out up front. Tyler didn't reply. But the real shift came moments later. The crew had been informed. As Marcus boarded, he wasn't greeted with robotic smiles, but with careful, deliberate respect. A flight attendant named Bryce took his briefcase. Another offered water without prompting. Mr. Eldridge, Bryce said quietly, if there's anything you need before departure, just let me know. Marcus gave a minimal nod. He wasn't interested in gestures. He took his seat, 2B, placed the glass of water aside, untouched, and exhaled. Not relief, just composure. Out in the terminal, the tempo slowed. Passengers checked the monitors again. Gate 12 changed from boarding to delayed. Then Gate 10. Then Gate 13. A woman in a red coat tapped the desk for answers. System review, she was told. In truth, corporate had quietly hit pause. Vanessa, now in a secure back office, was on a call with HR, legal, and risk management. Every interaction with Marcus that morning was under review. No one said it outright, but the flight wouldn't leave until the company understood the damage. Inside the cabin, Marcus sat with his eyes closed. He wasn't rattled. This stillness came from experience, from years of swallowing offenses others could walk past. He thought of his father, turned away from a hardware store because he was presumed poor. Thought of being mistaken for a delivery man during his first big pitch in Peoria. And how even now, decades later, it still played out, just in suits and terminals instead of back rooms. Bryce returned. Mr. Eldridge, he said gently, we're on a short delay. Terminal coordination. We'll keep you updated. Marcus nodded. Bryce lingered, then added, I saw what happened out there. It wasn't right. Marcus opened his eyes. Thank you. A pause, then Bryce continued, I watched your keynote from the Eco-Farming Summit last year. My cousin's in AG studies. It really opened her eyes. Marcus gave a quiet, genuine smile. Glad to hear that. As Bryce moved away, the pilots emerged and spoke in low tones with the head flight attendant. Their voices carried enough for Marcus to hear, ground hold. No timeline yet. Someone a few rows backside. Figures. This airline's always chaos. Marcus didn't respond. He leaned back and watched the clouds drift past the window. He had done his part. The rest was on them. 15 minutes later, Vanessa's team received the first internal report. Logs showed no flagged incidents, no threats, only one unrecorded security call from Tyler. That alone triggered action. By the time the plane pushed back, Tyler was quietly removed from rotation. No announcement. His name didn't appear on the next day's schedule. That evening, a photo made its rounds online, Marcus at the gate, phone in hand, calm, unmoved. Captioned, "He never raised his voice. Never moved." But the whole terminal felt it. These stories don't always explode. Sometimes they echo. The flight landed in Seattle at 2:05 p.m. Marcus disembarked last, unrushed. He didn't check his phone until he was in a gray sedan heading toward the Westin, where the Pacific Green Harvest Conference was underway. His inbox was full: messages from Skyples, a legal draft from Lila, a link to a quiet blog post about the O'Hara incident. No headlines, just a ripple in the right places. Inside the conference, the atmosphere buzzed. Marcus slipped in quietly. A few attendees recognized him, nods, handshakes. No one mentioned the airport. Just business. Just purpose. That he took the stage 15 minutes later. His talk wasn't about the gate, not directly. He spoke of resilience in supply chains, how small errors in sourcing or routing could have major impact. He shared a story about a farmer in Idaho who nearly lost everything over a misfiled order, and how that misstep changed the way his company tracked deliveries. Near the end, he paused. The room was full: executives, farmers, researchers, logistics pros. He said, "Sometimes, the issue isn't a system flaw. It's the assumptions we make." The crowd went still. He continued, "Whether it's a new grower, a vendor, or someone at a boarding gate with the right credentials, our snap judgments often say more about us than them." The applause was understated but sincere. Afterward, a woman from a Portland co-op approached him. "That part about assumptions," she said. "It hit harder than I expected." Marcus smiled. "That's usually where things go wrong, in the rush." Back in Chicago, Vanessa reviewed the final audit. Tyler's call wasn't documented. Marcus hadn't asked for his dismissal. He hadn't requested compensation. Hadn't even acknowledged the apology draft. He didn't need to. Skypulse leadership understood how narrowly they avoided losing more than a contract. Weeks later, the airline quietly signed with a firm specializing in bias training. A few niche blogs caught the connection. Marcus was mentioned once, indirectly, in a Skypulse statement. Recent events highlighted the importance of continued growth. Marcus didn't respond. He didn't post. He got back to work. Months went by, but the story didn't fade. It didn't need to go viral, it just stayed. Travelers at O'Hara still brought it up over coffee. The image of Marcus, calm with his phone in hand, found its way into presentations about quiet leadership. Within Skypulse, whispers passed between lounges and break rooms. Gate agents paused a little longer, thought twice before reaching for headsets or calling security without reason, and in a quiet home in Illinois, Clara Eldridge, now retired from the market, read the blog post, smiled to herself, and murmured, "That's my son." Because sometimes, the silence says everything.